I'm sitting on this chair reading a book in my own backyard, and my neighbor pops her head up over our adjoining wall. And she comes at me with, "When did you put this greenery here?" I align my chi. I respond back calmly and I say, "Oh, about a month and a half ago." She goes, "You need to move it. It can't be here." I'm thinking, this is my backyard. I can dance naked out here if I want to, and if I want greenery right here, I can have it. I said calmly, "This is my backyard. I can do whatever I want." She goes, "Nope, it cannot touch the wrought iron fence." And I said, "Well, okay, if that's what you think, I can just move it." She goes, "You need to take it down. It's blocking my view." And that's when I'm like, "Girl, I know you got a view. You got a big backyard that overlooks the golf course, has the Santa Ana Mountains in the background. Ain't nothing blocking your view." I forget about the conversation. She does not. She goes and files a grievance with the HOA. We get a snail mail that says we must move our greenery off the wrought iron fence or we're going to incur a fine. I wait the full amount of time, and then in the last 24 hours, I go to Home Depot and I get these iron stakes and I move the greenery. I move it in 2 inches on my property line. Petty, yes, and I'm proud of it.
2 inches of pure pettiness. That's the kind of neighbor response that says, "Oh, you wanted it moved? How about 2 whole inches?" Honestly, the restraint here is impressive, moving it just enough to be compliant while making sure the message is clear. She can file all the HOA complaints she wants, but she can't take over your backyard.
She got married and divorced in the same week. Go get yourself a cup of tea, because I'm about to spill it. So this particular bride, I met her, we planned her wedding in about 9 months. Never met the fiance one time, which I didn't think anything of it, honestly, because there's a lot of times that I'm working one-on-one with the brides during the planning process and the grooms never show up. This particular bride was absolutely sweet as could be. Her gentle spirit, she was absolutely precious. You could just imagine her as like a little quiet librarian. Well, the rehearsal day came and I got to meet the groom for the very first time. Immediately thought, girlfriend is marrying a scrub. But who am I to tell her this? Because I'm just her wedding planner. I'm not her marriage counselor. I'm not her mother. I can't tell her, let's not do this. Let's think, friend, let's go have some coffee. Let's talk about this before tomorrow. I cannot do that. Next day came, they got married. We had their dinner, we cut their cake, we did the first dances, all the fun stuff. And then it came time for the maid of honor and best man toast. I remember the maid of honor saying in her toast that the newlyweds met because of her, that the groom and the maid of honor worked together, and that's how she introduced her best friend to her new husband. Well, the night went on. Dance party started. Everybody was having such a good time. Honestly, like this was one of the funnest events. And towards the very end of the event, I went outside to do some trash. I was walking around. You know, it's pitch black outside. My venue is in the middle of the country. So when I'm talking dark, it is dark, dark. And I heard a little bit of commotion going on the very side of my barn. So I was like, what is that? So I started walking a little closer and listening, but I couldn't pinpoint exactly where it was. And then the closer I got, the more I realized, oh, that's my bride and groom. They're over there really enjoying themselves. Good for her. You go, girl. So I got my drink and I just went the other way and went back inside the barn and left them two alone. Well, I walked back inside my barn and the first thing I spotted was my bride on the dance floor having the time of her life. Oh, and don't get me wrong, that little groom, that little husband of hers was having the time of his life too, with the maid of honor, with her best friend, the one that introduced them. Well, the little bride starts looking and asking for her husband. Has anybody seen him? Does anybody know where he is? It's almost time for our private dance. Oh, honey, I think you should go check by the fire pit. I think he's by the fire pit. So she walks out there by the fire pit, walks back in. No, he's not at the fire pit. I didn't say he was at the fire pit. I said he was by the fire pit. She never found him. He eventually made his way back in. I was so emotionally disturbed at that point. But y'all, I cannot get into people's personal business. I can't do it. That is not my place. The event ended. Everybody left. This was a Saturday. Sunday night rolled around and we were with my husband's family celebrating his grandma's birthday, and I get a phone call. Guess who it was? It was my little Brad saying, "Lindsay, I have a very odd question for you." I'm like, oh my God, here it goes. He said, "Lindsay, do you happen to have surveillance cameras at your venue?"
Imagine getting married only to file for divorce before the week is up. Thanks to finding your new husband enjoying himself with your maid of honor at your own wedding. The plan who really saw it all unfold and kept it professional even though the drama was thick. When the bride called asking about cameras, you just know she was ready for evidence. This goes to show that trust is the real foundation of any relationship, before the wedding bells even start ringing.